Hi, and happy Monday to you, everyone. I hope you still have a job to go to and you're dealing with the Monday blues and at least being thankful that you might still have a job. And I wanted to talk today on the topic of negative self talk. Now, to introduce this topic, first, I want to read to you an old legend. It's a Cherokee legend called The Two Wolves. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the other wolf is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going inside of you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. So you can see the parallel here. This just illustrates the fact that negative self talk is something everybody deals with. Human thought is almost a disease because it just seems uncontrollable. And there seems to be the idea that people who are happy and successful, they maybe don't have negative self talk, but the truth is that they do. Everyone does. The only thing that's different about people who are happy and successful is they found techniques, they found strategies to help them either reduce the volume of the negative self talk or make it go away by being mindful of it. So that's what I want to talk about in this video are a few simple questions. I'm not going to teach technique in this video, but there's just a few simple questions to ask when you are going down this road of negative self-talk. And we all know the voice in our head, right? It's a critical voice. It tells you that you haven't achieved what you should have achieved. It beats you up for failed relationships if you're divorced or in a breakup, or maybe you have nobody. It says you should be further along in your career than you are. You should have more money than you do. You basically should be more successful than you are right now. It just calls you a loser. The loser talk that beats you down. And the problem with it is that we end up going down this path of thoughts sometimes because we believe that they're true. So that's the first question that you start asking yourself if you start going down this path of negative self-talk. Ask yourself the first question, is it true? Is that thought true? If so, how do you know? Now, what about the opposite thought? Is the opposite thought also true? And this is where a mindfulness practice comes into play. If you start meditating regularly, you start looking at these thoughts more often. And you start to wonder, where do the thoughts come from? And where do they go? Did you decide to think the thought that you are a loser? Did you put that in there consciously? It seems to me that thoughts just sort of come and then they disappear. If you get caught up in them, you're going to amplify the effect. You're going to focus on them. But if you actually stop and look at the thought and just look at it, it kind of goes away. It sort of loses its power. It dissolves. And I also like to think of, like the Cherokee legend, there is a sort of evil, fear-based energy out there, and then there's an energy that's optimistic and positive. And they're sort of always competing for your attention. And it's not coming from you, but you're the receiver. So, depending on how you maintain your body and your mind and your health, you will be more receptive to one force or the other. And there's a whole lot of techniques that, people do to keep their body in a state where they don't attract as many of these evil and negative thoughts. So that's the first question to ask. Is the thought true? Where did it come from? The second major thing you should ask when you have these thoughts about being a loser or being unsuccessful is, compared to who? Okay? We're always comparing ourselves to others. And there is no such thing as absolutes when it comes to this. Everything, happiness, every measure of happiness and success is relative. We tend to look at other people as the yardstick for how we're doing. So the question is, when you start saying that you're no good, compared to who? Who are you looking at? And the other thing that we always do, or often do, is we compare up and not down. If you were to think about it for a moment, no matter where you are and however well you're doing, there's definitely people that are worse off than you. Okay? So the only comparison you really should be making is to yourself in the past. Are you in a better place than you were last year or 2 years ago or 10 years ago? Look at yourself, look at the progress you've made in your life, and see where you are. Don't worry about what other people are doing. The other thing is, we can't really know how people feel on the inside. So the person you're comparing yourself to, when you think of yourself as a loser, because they have all this external success and they seem to be happy or whatever, you actually don't know if they're happy. They look happy, but people are really good at putting up a front. You cannot know how they feel in their own heart. And that's true of anyone. So try to avoid making that comparison. Just look at your own life. And then even if you are going to compare to somebody and say they've achieved something that you want, they have a life that you want, then you should be asking, well, what did they sacrifice to get there? And in my opinion, there's only 3 things that you can sacrifice on the road to getting where you want to go. One is time, the other is money, and the third is integrity. So someone who's a millionaire, you don't know how they got that money, right? They might have done something that would be against your values, that you would sacrifice your integrity to achieve the same thing. So, everyone has to give up time and money, but your integrity is the most precious thing, I think, that you can keep. So whether or not you have money, if you can keep your integrity, that's worth more than anything. So the trick is to then find a way to get where you want to go while maintaining your integrity. And finally, my final point is, okay, look, you looked at your thoughts, you looked at your life, and then you come to the conclusion, yes, actually your life sucks. You're 47 years old, you got no money, nobody seems to love you, you're single, you're alone, maybe you move back with your parents or whatever, you have no job. Okay, maybe these things are all true. Good news, you have nowhere to go but up from here. It can only get better. And right now is the perfect time to take that next step to get where you want to go. I think a lot of things that hold people back as well is, a lot of the times that people are held back is this idea that you have to be something by a certain age. Yes, it's true, we all have limited time on earth, but there is no reason that if you're mid-40s, you can't just suddenly turn everything around. One of my favorite stories is the story of the founder of KFC, Colonel Sanders. He didn't actually achieve anything in terms of material success until he was in his 60s. I think the guy who founded McDonald's, Ray Kroc, he was 50-something as well, and he was kind of a broke salesman before then. So there is no time limit here, guys. It's just, are you going to make the decision to work towards it? And are you going to start now? And are you going to start doing small steps now? For example, if you're broke, thinking about being a millionaire probably isn't the goal. That leap from being broke to being a millionaire is way too big. and you're not going to be able to believe in that. So you're just going to feel bad. So the thing is, you have to know what you want, first of all, but it has to be something you believe in. And if you're struggling with money, then maybe the goal in your mind shouldn't be, I want to be a millionaire, but maybe I just want to have a little more money. And then that will go into the next thing, maybe a little more after that. And you incrementally go, advance towards where you want to be. But yeah, I think people get trapped in this big dream, and it's too disconnected from their present reality. So they allow the negative self-talk to continue, like, oh, I'm never going to get there, I suck, I'm a loser. And that tape recorder just plays endlessly, and you get lost in that. If you don't meditate, I highly recommend you do. And there's all kinds of yogic breathing techniques you can do in other videos. I'm going to share these with you, and I've got a little course coming up that's a daily breathwork course that I'll share with you later. But until you learn these techniques and until they become part of your life, just remember to ask these questions. Is the thought true? Where does it come from? Where does it go? And compared to who or compared to what? Remember, only compare against yourself. And with that, I hope that was helpful, and I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk soon. Bye.